Almost everyone had this console because it was affordable. Throughout its life cycle, it consistently performed well, selling tens of millions of units. Many of us remember the PSP as one of the best experiences of our childhood. Today, we'll try to recall what the PSP meant to us. Following the worldwide success of the PlayStation 2, Sony was unlikely to produce a failed portable console, as legions of fans were eager to purchase anything PlayStation-related. The initial PSP model launched in 2005. Personally, I remember the slim models, the 2000 and 3000 series. They were similar to each other, but compared to the original, they were thinner and lighter. The PSP itself cost about $300, making it accessible to most moderately affluent children, students, and adults. In my class, nearly everyone had a PSP. Even those not typically interested in gaming, including the girls in the class, would buy this console to play various games. The PSP was an escape from boredom during dull classes, on the subway, and on long journeys. It revolutionized the world of portable entertainment. Reflecting on what we played, we can recall dozens of great games. However, the most significant and popular was undoubtedly GTA, released in 3 parts. The first, Chinatown Wars, echoed the classic style of the series, but the real hits were Liberty City Stories and Vice City Stories, akin to GTA 3 and Vice City, but with different storylines. So, why was GTA on every PSP? Simply put, it's GTA. With its open world, cars, missions, police chases, and cheat codes, it was a game previously confined to home computers, but now fitting right in your school pants pocket. The coolness of this cannot be overstated. It's no surprise that Liberty City Stories sold 41 million copies, becoming the top game on the PSP. Indeed, a PSP without GTA just doesn't feel complete. However, the list of commendable games doesn't end there. Notable are Sony's masterpieces, God of War and Gran Turismo. I personally remember Loco Roco, a simple indie game that gained popularity for its unique concept. Additionally, there were various fighting games like Tekken and Mortal Kombat, as well as racing games like Need for Speed, catering to a wide range of preferences. If you owned a PSP, feel free to share in the comments what you played. The games were sold on UMD discs, a specially designed medium. To prevent scratching, these discs were housed in protective plastic cases with a small cutout for the disc reader. This design was generally effective, though not particularly durable. However, discs were not the only necessity. A memory card was also required for saving games. Interestingly, instead of adopting the standard SD format, Sony introduced their own proprietary memory stick cards, which were initially available in smaller sizes like 32 and 128 megabytes, and later expanded to 2, 8, and 16 gigabytes. It became feasible to bypass physical discs and directly download games onto these memory cards from the PlayStation Network store. This was my preferred method, as I never owned a UMD disc as a child. The PSP was eventually hacked, allowing free game downloads. This convenience meant no need to carry around a collection of discs. However, it also meant I couldn't participate in swapping games with friends. Now, revisiting the PSP for nostalgia can be jarring. While modern smartphones boast resolutions of 2900 by 1400, the PSP's resolution is a mere 480 by 272. This stark contrast can make the PSP's display seem pixelated compared to the crispness of current screens. Yet, we didn't mind back then, instead, marveling at what were considered advanced graphics for a handheld device. A common frustration was Sony's decision to include only one joystick. This design choice made shooters on the PSP less intuitive, as aiming was relegated to button controls. It felt akin to playing a PC shooter with keyboard arrows instead of a mouse. A second joystick would have been a significant improvement. Despite this, the PSP's controls were otherwise excellent. The buttons were large, easy to press, and operated quietly. It may well have been the most enjoyable handheld console to use, surpassing even the PS Vita, which had less satisfying buttons. Remembering the PSP solely for its games would be an oversight. It also functioned as a music player and could play movies, though these had to be formatted to fit the screen. Sony, in addition to games, also sold movies on the same UMD discs. You could purchase a disc with a movie, insert it into your PSP, and watch it. This led to some confusion and frustration. Many people were misled, especially when purchasing from unofficial stores. They would buy what they thought was a game, only to find out after inserting it into their PSP that it was actually a movie. This mix-up caught quite a few people off guard. The most impressive feature of the PSP, especially for its release year, was the built-in Wi-Fi. This allowed not just for downloading games from the internet, but also offered a fully functional Skype for communication. However, these were just minor perks compared to the main highlight, the ability to play games over a local network. This meant that PSPs could connect directly with each other, enabling players to enjoy games together with friends nearby. The memory of playing online during school recesses is particularly fond for many. Students would gather in the hallway, each with their PSP, and engage in multiplayer games like GTA. The disappointment was palpable when recess ended, and the game had to be paused for class. Remarkably, this online play didn't require an internet connection. The PSPs linked together for a shared gaming experience, a notable feat for a 2005 console. However, it's impossible to discuss the PSP without mentioning Sony's less successful venture, the PSP Go. The main issue with the PSP Go was its lack of a UMD disc tray, forcing users to download games exclusively. This was a significant shift from the physical disc preference of the time. Additionally, its compact slider design reduced the screen size and replaced the larger, more comfortable buttons with less user-friendly ones. Despite some fans, the PSP Go was largely viewed as a failure. Around the time of the PSP Go, Sony also released the budget model PSP E1000. It aimed to make the PSP more affordable, but the cost saving was minimal compared to the full-featured PSP 3000. The E1000 had compromised features like stereo sound and poor screen viewing angles, making it less enjoyable for group play. Additionally, it lacked Wi-Fi, a significant drawback for those wanting to play games like GTA Online. Despite these variations, all PSP models offered a solid gaming experience, except for the PSP Go, which faced considerable criticism. The PSP's major competitor was the Nintendo DS, which boasted dual screens, with one being a touchscreen and a slot for Game Boy Advance cartridges. This feature gave the DS access to the entire Game Boy game library, a substantial advantage at the time. Nintendo's console was more popular than the PSP, but in my home country, the Nintendo DS was virtually unseen. The primary reason for its unpopularity there? The absence of GTA titles. Although Chinatown Wars was available, it wasn't on par with Vice City. Moreover, the PSP's superior graphics were highly valued in my country, while some Asian countries favored indie games, explaining the DS's success there. As time went on, anticipation for a PSP successor grew. The main requests were simple: a second joystick and improved hardware. Then came the PS Vita, which seemed poised to take the gaming world by storm. Just 3 months post-launch, I acquired one, confident in its bright future with an array of exciting games. Many blame the PS Vita's failure on Sony's marketing strategies, but I believe the rise of mobile gaming was the real culprit. By 2012, smartphone games like Angry Birds, Fruit Ninja, and Subway Surfers were immensely popular, and with advancements like the GTA 3 port, many wondered why they'd need a separate gaming console. The PS Vita had impressive features: a touchscreen, rear touchpad, and IP-enabled cameras, technologies that were innovative for their time. However, its poorly designed buttons and limited game selection post-launch were significant drawbacks. The shift towards mobile gaming led to the decline of Sony's handheld consoles. Now the same games from 2012 still dominate the gaming scene. It makes me wonder if this is a fair trade-off for classics like Uncharted, God of War, and Gran Turismo. Reminiscing about those school breaks playing GTA on LAN, I can't help but feel that gaming has lost something special. The Nintendo Switch, despite its criticisms, stands as the sole survivor in the handheld gaming market. I hope Sony takes note of Nintendo's success and delivers the PSP 2 we've longed for. I thank Sony for creating a console that defined many childhoods, offering one of the best handheld gaming experiences with a vast array of games and the ability to transform tedious moments into fun. Is it worth buying a PSP today? If you're keen on experiencing Sony's classics and haven't yet, then yes. However, be prepared for a screen that may seem too grainy by modern standards.